I want to preach for a little while asking the question, why is it taking so long? Beloved, I've come to find out that there is one thing in life that I absolutely hate with uttermost passion. And this one thing that I hate is shopping for groceries. It is not just shopping for groceries that bothers me, but it's shopping for groceries at Walmart. Mind you, New Rising Star, I am not just talking about any old Walmart. But specifically, I'm speaking about the Walmart, which happens to be located in the Roebuck community adjacent to Centerpoint Parkway, just off of I-59 in Birmingham, Alabama. This particular Walmart is absolutely notorious for having high volumes of traffic and very few aisles open for checkout at the same time. And so therefore, as a consequence, it is not the shopping that bothers me, it is paying for the food that I put inside of the basket when I'm finished shopping that is absolutely unnerving. Due to the fact that there are high volumes of traffic and very few aisles open for checkout, it is not an uncommon thing when shopping at this particular Walmart to stand in line waiting for the purpose of paying for your food and asking yourself the question, why is it taking so long? Perhaps you've never had this experience. Perhaps many of you under the sound of my voice know exactly what I'm talking about. But for those of us in here who understand what it is that I'm talking about this morning, sometimes, if in fact you are like me, you have a tendency to become impatient. And when it is that you grow impatient, many of us have a tendency to make up inside of our minds that I've waited long enough. And because I've waited long enough, what is the next thing that we do? We ease out of the line in hopes of finding another line that looks to be more promising and another line that is shorter, only to become more frustrated because when it is that you get to the front of that line, the person that is operating the cash register cuts the light off when you get there. They pull out the cash drawer and say that I'm closed. You mean to tell me that you serviced all of these people before me, but you want to shut the business down when I get to the front of the line? And sometimes it causes you to ask the question, why is it taking so long? For those of us that have had this experience at this particular moment in time, you really don't want to look like the dumb person inside of the store that has lost your spot. At this time, you are unable to get your spot back, and so now, because all of us are black, I gotta find a way to play it off. And due to the fact that I really don't want to look like the dummy inside of the store that has lost my spot, it is not an uncommon thing to take my basket that is full of groceries, to take my basket that is full of food and go all the way, not to the back of the line, but to the back of the store for the purpose of paying for your food in the media section where the TVs are. I guess I'm the only person that's ever done that before. And sometimes when it is that you take that drastic of a measure in order to get outside of Walmart, it causes you to ask the question, why is it taking so long? Ladies and gentlemen, about 3 days ago, I had the opportunity of shopping at this particular Walmart. I'm not talking about any kind of Walmart. In case many of you don't know, I'm specifically talking about the one in Roebuck, adjacent to Centerpoint Parkway, just off of I-59 in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm shopping at the Walmart, and this time I decided I'm going to learn from my mistakes. I decided that I'm going to wait until my change comes. And so therefore, as a consequence, I'm standing inside of the line, and when it is that I get to the front of the line, I have an epiphany, and I come to the understanding that the reason it takes so long, it is not always the fault of Walmart. But the reason it takes so long, because sometimes when it is that I'm paying for my food, I'm the one that is not paying attention, and it is not Walmart's fault, it's my fault. Let me explain what I'm talking about. Here it is. I get to the front of the line, and I put all of the groceries that are inside of the basket on the belt for the purpose of paying for my food, and I pull out my card because all that I carry is plastic, and I swipe my card. After I swipe my card, I'm thinking that I'm getting ready to walk outside of the store, and the person that is at the cash register is laughing, he is joking, he is talking all at the same time, and I'm thinking that surely he's the reason that it's taking so long, until 45 seconds later he stands flat-footed and looks me inside of the face. He says, "Have you chosen a method of payment?" I say, "Sir, you saw me just swipe my card." He says, "Yes, but there are three kinds of cards. There's EBT, there's credit card, and there's debit card. Which one do you want to use?" I say, "I want to use the debit card." He says, "If you want to use the debit card, I need you to verify that statement you just made by hitting the debit key that is located on the keypad." And I came to the understanding the reason it was taking so long, it was not because he wasn't paying attention, but I wasn't paying attention. I hit the debit key, and he goes back to laughing, he goes back to talking, he goes back to joking, and I'm thinking, surely he's the reason that it's taking so long, until 45 seconds later, he asked me another question: "Is the amount that you've been charged correct?" I said, "Of course it's correct." He says, "I need you to verify that statement by hitting the OK button that is located on the keypad." And I came to the understanding I really can't be so quick to get mad at Walmart, because the reason it was taking so long was not because he wasn't paying attention, it was me who wasn't paying attention. I'm thinking that I'm getting ready to walk outside of the store, and he goes back to laughing, talking, and joking all at the same time. I'm talking about, who does this at work? I'm trying to pay for my food, and he's laughing, he's talking, and he's joking all at the same time. And I'm thinking inside of my mind, surely he has to be the reason it's taking so long, until finally he asked me a third question: "Do you want any cash back?" No, I don't want any cash back. I want to pay for my food and get outside of the store. He says, "If you don't want any cash back, I need you to verify that statement by hitting the no cash button that is located on the keypad." And I came to the understanding the reason that it took so long for me to get outside of Walmart, I'm thinking he was the problem, but the reason I experienced a delay inside of Walmart, it was not the fault of Walmart, it was my own fault, because I was the one that was not paying attention. Ladies and gentlemen, I really believe that this is an excellent time to pause for the specific purpose of speaking to every Christian under the sound of my voice. All of us in here who claim to be Christians, that have been bought with a price, that have been washed in the blood of the Lamb, that have confessed with our mouth the Lord Jesus and believed inside of our heart that God raised Jesus from the dead. All of us who are Christians are children of God, and because we are children of God, all of us are absolutely privileged, because God makes promises to all of his children. But the problem with many of us as children of God is that somewhere between the time of the promise and somewhere between the fulfillment of the promise, many of us act like we are standing in a Walmart line, because many of us become frustrated, and many of us become agitated, and many of us become impatient, because sometimes when waiting on the promises of God that he's spoken inside of your life to be fulfilled inside of your life, it causes you to ask the question, why is it taking so long? And quite naturally, when it takes a long time for the promises of God to be fulfilled inside of our lives, many of us are just like me standing inside of that Walmart line. You always want to find somebody else to blame other than yourself. And so you keep blaming the reason that God's promises have not been fulfilled inside of your life. You keep blaming it on the haters. You keep blaming it on your enemies. You keep blaming it on your family. You keep blaming it on your friends. You keep blaming it on the church. Many of us in here have the nerve and the audacity to even blame God himself. But I've come to the understanding that anytime there is a delay of the promises of God being fulfilled inside of our lives, instead of us blaming everybody else, you got to do like Michael Jackson and start with the man inside of the mirror. Anybody can testify it's my own fault, that I am my own hold up. I can't blame the haters. I can't blame it on the rain like Milli Vanilli. You can't blame the family member. You can't blame the friend. But anybody can testify, if I could just learn how to deal with myself, that everything will be all right.